It is my favorite time of the month, and that is TBR time. Every single month I play a TBR game called TBR Bluff, where I roll a bunch of dice and they give me a corresponding prompt that helps me choose my TBR. If you guys have never seen TBR Bluff before, I will leave a playlist down below for you guys to check out. The basic rules are I roll 5 dice, the board has the corresponding dice on it, and each of those corresponding dice does lead to a prompt. I can roll up to 3 times. Once I hit 3 times, if I cannot find the prompt, then I have to spin the wheel of terror and add an extra roll. Otherwise, I cover up the prompt once I have found it, and then once I get 5 in a row, I can wipe the board. It's relatively simple. It'll make more sense if you've never seen it once I start playing it, but it is a lot of fun and it really helps me narrow down my TBR. I did not quite finish my TBR for the month of May. I had a pretty hard reading slump, so I did not quite get it done. So we will be adding an extra roll for a total of 6 rolls this month, which works out pretty well because I am going to be participating in a couple of readathons. For the month of June, I'm going to be participating in the amazing readathon hosted by Bree from Four Paws and a Book, and I'm going to be on the team Fantasy, which is hosted by Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy and Kristen from Kristen Craves Books. I'm really excited to be participating, and I think that it's just going to be a lot of fun to hang out and watch the chaos. It is based on the Amazing Race, which I don't know a ton about, but it's a really fun readathon. There are prompt drops, and you don't know all of the prompts ahead of time, so you just kind of have that fun aspect of waiting for the next prompt to drop. You will get extra points for reading fantasy books, so I'm going to try to get as many fantasy books as I can on this TBR, and then I also believe you get extra points for reading LGBTQ+ authors. I will leave Bree's announcement video down below for you guys to check that out because she explains it significantly better than I do. And I will also be participating in Romantasy-a-thon hosted by Tori from Tori Between Pages. This one is one I am so excited for. I am looking forward to just a summer of romantasy. It covers both June and July, so I will be participating loosely throughout both of the months. And this is going to fit in nicely with my romantasy challenge, which you guys have already seen my TBR for that Cassidy created. So a lot going on in the month of June. I don't think there are any hardcore required reads for me in the month of June. We are tentatively pushing The Girl in the Moon back to June. I don't have a live show date for you guys for that yet, but I do need to read that. And then other than that, I don't think I have a lot of required reads this month. So look at me go with the freedom here. So I think that I've been talking for way too long, and let's just jump into our first roll. TBR Bluff, roll number 1. 2 4s, 2 1s, and a 5. So we're going to keep the 2 4s and 2 1s, and since we have a fresh, clean board, that should be very easy to find, and that is a non-Western setting. I don't think I want to make it too easy for myself, and I actually don't have anything off the top of my head that I can think of that I want to go with that's for sure a non-Western setting, so I actually think I'm just going to re-roll that hand again. We have a helper. Okay, so that one did not get us anything at all, so I may be really regretting re-rolling my hand, but we're going to do our very last roll. That one got us 3 2s, a 5, and a 6. So 3 2s is a video project. So for TBR Bluff, roll number 1, we got 3 2s, which was a video project. This one worked out beautifully. I rolled the dice literally, and I was a little afraid that I was going to end up not being able to find a prompt on my first roll on a wiped board, which where would be the karma in that? But we did manage to find a prompt, and video project was absolutely perfect. I am going to be using a book from my Romantasy challenge because I will be vlogging that, and going with House of Bane and Blood by Alexis Menard. This is part of a duology, which is one of my favorite ways to read a romantasy. It is, I think, a gangster fantasy romance, which I've not really read a lot of, and I'm very excited for it. It is an arranged marriage trope. I am getting a special edition of this, so I hope that I love it, and I cannot wait to pick this one up. It says, in a city split into 2 opposing sides, power comes in many forms: bloodline, money, love, and most importantly, secrets. I love a good secret. I'm here for this. TBR Bluff, roll number 2. 2 5s, a 4, a 6, and a 2. So I'm going to keep the 2 5s and re-roll the rest. That got us 2 2s and a 3. So 2 5s and 2 2s is an indie book. That actually works perfectly. Then we got 2 5s and 2 2s, which ended up being an indie pick. For this one, I'm going to be going with one of my SPFBO books because I'm trying to squeeze those in and get Cassidy her semi-finalist sooner rather than later. If you guys want to check out all of my SPFBO 10 allocation, I will link that video as well down for you guys. But for this one, I have 10 books that I can choose from. I think that I am going to go with... I need a fantasy. Do I go with a really chunky one? No, I don't go with a really chunky one because you'll see. I think I'm gonna go with The Outer Darkness by Matthew Prindle. This one is a standalone fantasy and it's one that I'm excited for, so I want to kind of start off strong. Some of these books are a little scary, so I think I want to start off strong. It is about demons and there is like a darkness that is coming in and trying to take over the world, and so I have high hopes for this. He is a semi-finalist author from last year, so I'm hopeful that this one will end up being really good. So I think that one's the one that I'm gonna put on for my indie pick. TBR Bluff, roll number 3. 2 5s, 2 1s, and a 6. 2 5s and 2 1s is a chunky book. Do I do that to myself? I don't know. Do I have a chunky book that I want to read this month? I feel like I could find a chunky book that I want to read this month. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna do chunky book. It's also in the row, which I'm trying to do better about thinking ahead to clear my board. Then for TBR Bluff, roll number 3, we just went with it and we got 2 5s and 2 1s, which was a chunky book. Chunky book for me is really anything over 500 pages. I know chunky can mean different things for different people, but as a fantasy reader, most of the time under 500 pages is relatively chunky for me. And I decided to choose Chaos. This is for a video project, so I don't completely hate myself because I was probably going to read it anyway, so I needed to at least get it on the TBR, but I'm terrified of this book and I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Actually, I do know why I'm doing it to myself, and I blame Lexi, and if you've been watching my channel then you know why I'm blaming Lexi, but I'm blaming Lexi, and that is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This book has been sitting on my shelves since it was published in 2019. So it's been hanging out for 5 years on my shelf, just sitting there looking pretty. Probably could have hung out for another 5 years and I would have been perfectly content, but here we are. This is a standalone fantasy that is literally very, very chunky. It is a brick. You could use this thing as a weapon. It is definitely over 500 pages. It is 700 and... I take it back. It is 804 pages, so almost doubling my requirement for chunky book. So I think this definitely counts. I'm terrified of this, but I guess it's time that I finally read this, and that way if I don't like it, I can get it off of my shelves. It takes up a lot of room on the shelves, so... we're doing it. We're doing it. We're putting this on as chunky book. I have now put it out into the world. It's now got to happen. TBR Bluff, roll number 4. 2 6s, a 1, a 4, and a 2. So we're going to keep the 2 6s and re-roll the rest. That was not at all helpful, so let's try one more time. I think we got the same thing like all 3 times, but we got 3 6s, and 3 6s is a debut author. Then for our next roll, we got 3 6s, which was a debut author. For this one, I do think that I'm going to go with a book that's been on my TBR for a little while, but not too long, and one that I have been really looking forward to, but just never had a reason to pick it up, but also one that I've heard really good things about, and that is The Flames of Mira by Clay Herman. I did check, and this was his debut novel. I've heard so many people say that this book is really good, that it was super interesting and a different kind of magic system. There is like a warring between fire magic and ice magic. I read the first chapter of this back when I was doing my reading the first chapter of every fantasy book, and I really liked the first chapter, so I don't know what has taken me so long to be motivated to pick this back up, but I think that it's time that I pick this back up. This is the month of fantasy. I'm getting extra points for fantasy, so I think that it is time that we give this another go. This is about magic and redemption in a world of fire and ice. I want to say that this also takes place like underground in parts, and I love a good underground world. I don't think that you see very much of that, and I cannot wait to give this one a try. TBR Bluff, roll number 5. We got 2 4s, a 1, a 2, and a 6. So I'm going to keep the 2 4s and re-roll the rest. That did not help us at all, so let's try one more time. Also did not help us at all. So are there 2 4s on the board? There is, and that is a friend pick. Okay, friend pick. This could be fun. And for our next roll, we got 2 4s, which ended up being a friend pick. And that could not be any more perfect than to call in Bree, who is the host of Amazing Readathon this month. And I texted her and asked her to give me a pick. So I will insert a clip of what she gave me. At the time of filming this, I have no idea what she chose. So I really hope that she was nice to me. I think she was planning to be mostly nice and potentially choose an SPFBO book. But like, I don't know if she went completely AWOL off that plan. So here's to hoping that Bree was nice to me.
Hello, Mel. I thought I would be pretty nice to you this month for the friend pick. I know you want to work on your SPFBO books, so I'm going to pick a Goddess Found for you. And as the person who knows the prompts for the Amazing Readathon, I also know that this one will come in handy at some point.
So thank you so much to Bree for choosing me a book. Was she nice? I hope so. And since I did not complete my TBR last month, we are going to do a punishment roll. So TBR Bluff, roll number 6, and hopefully our final roll. 2 5s, a 4, a 1, and a 6. So keeping the 2 5s. 2 6s and a 4. So 2 5s and 2 6s. That is a color generator. Color generator's fun, so we're going to keep that one. And this is the board so far. Looking pretty concentrated over here in the middle. I'll take it. And then because I did not finish my TBR last month, I did add on a punishment roll, and we got 2 6s and 2 5s, which was a color generator. So I just need to Google color generator really quickly. Okay, we're just gonna pick a random color generator, and I'm going to try to find a cover that is as close as possible to whatever color it gives me. Sometimes this is kind of hard, so fingers crossed for me. This is just whatever one that it gave me, so we're going to ignore this one, and we're actually going to hit generate. Clay brown? I need to find a brown cover. Oh god, a brown cover. Okay, I'm going to go on the hunt for a brown cover, and I'll be back. Okay, so I found one that is brown-ish. I guess it's kind of like brown slash orangey slash red, but I think it's pretty close to brown, and that is Academ's Fury. This is the sequel to Furies of Calderon, and so it's part of the Codex Alera series by Jim Butcher. I read the first one and I really enjoyed it, but it just never remembered to pick up the sequel. This is a high epic fantasy series. I think this one has a school setting, and I do really like a school setting, and I need to continue on in the series. It has elemental magic, and like you are able to control these like sprite things when your magic comes in, but our main character has no magic, or at least he's not able to control these things, and like there is a war brewing, and I remember there being a really big epic battle scene. I remember there being some like slave trade to this. I probably need to look up a summary of this before I read the sequel, because obviously I don't remember as much as I would love to, but I do remember really enjoying book 1. And I remember there being like a nature that takes physical form, and that being a large part of the magic system, which I found to be really cool. So I think I'm gonna go with this one. I think it's brown enough, especially when you look at like the spine. It's not translating well to camera, but in person I feel like it's pretty brown. Okay, so that is everything. Since I don't have any required reads this month, this is my TBR plus The Outer Darkness plus the book that Bree chose for me. So not a bad stack of books, except for maybe Priory. Priory does not look fun, and I'm kind of terrified of it, but this is my stack. Some great fantasy and romantasy books this month. I am so excited to read. I'm hoping to get my fantasy mojo back this month, so we're gonna see how that goes. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me this month. If you want to see more of TBR Bluff, I will link the playlist here for you guys to check out. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me some kind of absolutely terrified emoji in honor of Priory of the Orange Tree. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are all in the description box below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!